All right, everybody. I am here with my guy, Joey Sissio. Joey, you have had an insane transformation when we were working together last year, and it's nice to finally catch up and kind of go over the progress that you've made and that you're continuing to make. And I think one of the coolest things about you is that you are an absolute workhorse. We kind of knew each other a little bit before you started working with me, and I knew that you were a hard worker, but I didn't know how hard of a worker you were until I met you. And you told me that when we started coaching, you said, I want to be
Yeah, I was
your
about to say.
best transformation ever. I want to be your best client ever. And you were like damn near robotic, man. You hit every single workout, every single habit. And I never had to question whether or not you were actually, doing all the things that you needed to do, and your results show for it. So, um, congratulations, bro. You've been absolutely crushing it, not just throughout the program, but even still to this day. So, wanted to give you your flowers and your kudos there. But yeah, for those that don't know who you are, if you want to give a little bit of background on who you are, what you do, kind of your lifestyle, and what your life was like before you started working within the Ultimate Athlete and getting on the program.
Yeah, so just kind of a little backstory. I've honestly been this was like one of the most eye-opening and also frustrating things about the program was I've been lifting weights since I was like 14. Like I played sports all through high school and a little bit after that. And like I never had a problem lifting weights. It was all the other stuff that I didn't realize that I was missing out on. I just had no clue about. That's why, I came to you and I'm like, I just don't know anything outside of going to the gym and working hard. And I feel like a lot of people are in that position because uh, a little bit background on like what I do for a living is I run a sales force and do some other stuff, and I'm always on the road. So like I'm typically not at my own home 3 days a week at this point. Prior, it was a lot more than that. It was really hard to keep a structure around the other things that we're going to talk about throughout this interview. But a little bit about me, yeah. I mean, I've been doing all that for the longest time, and I'm gone 3 4 days a week and just kind of did that. Obviously, cut some of this out, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
a
And like you said, you're probably in the same boat as most other people where like everybody can kind of be married to the gym. That's like the fun part, where people are like excited to go get a pump, do it 4 5 6 days a week, but they kind of fall short on the other areas. And even still, some people don't even know how to lift in the gym properly. Because you can show up to the gym consistently, but if you're not going with the right intensity, you're not training the right muscle groups, you're never going to see the change that you want. But before we hop into it a little bit more, I still wanted to show your transformation a little bit. So, this was you back in April of last year. You started out at 210 pounds. You can see like you have a nice frame on you. You have a lot of muscle. There wasn't quite the definition because it was covered by some body fat. And then flash forward about 9 months, and you dropped all the way down to 185. You're looking absolutely chiseled. And the crazy part about this is like you went from working out, we said 5 days a week, right? Sometimes six.
minimum. It was minimum 5 days a week. I was lifting weights in the gym. Yeah,
Yeah, and then we cut it back to 3 days a week, literally lifting less. And, you're down 25 pounds, which is incredible. And you look even better. And a lot of people are usually like concerned with losing that much weight. They're like, I think I'm going to look super small. And what they fail to realize is when you lose all that body fat, it emphasizes the muscle that you have, and then you look even bigger. So yeah, what was the transformation like for you? How do you feel now? And is it weird being 185 pounds, or is it more like you look in the mirror and you're like, dude, I don't care how much I weigh?
yeah. I mean, the weirdest part about it was I actually just thought I looked normal, and I was just getting older. Like I was like, oh, I'm just this. Like I'm not gonna look like I do now. Like at this point in time, because I'm not 18 anymore. I just thought I was always gonna look like this, and it was kind of crazy to like see. Obviously, at first, you trim down quite a bit in the first few months, and then it's kind of a long grind from there. But the first few months, like the transformations that I saw, I was like, this is insane. I like forgot what it felt like and looked like. You know what I mean? I mean, as far as energy levels go, uh, as you've seen in that first picture, I was always taking pre-workout. I was always like, I had to have my caffeine to go to the gym. I had to eat something before the gym, and it was just all these like bad habits that I didn't realize how much they were actually hurting me. that I was able to cut out, and like I don't drink pre-workout at all anymore. You know what I mean? I don't have those problems that I once had. And that has helped obviously my energy levels to become better all across the board throughout the day.
Dude, yeah, when I tell people that I don't take pre-workout at all, like a lot of people find it hard to believe because I used to be the same way. Like before every single workout, I had to have a scoop of pre-workout. And if I didn't, it was almost like a mental block. And now for me, it's almost weird if I do have pre-workout. I feel too jittery. I'm not as like locked in. So for you, what was like the biggest change that made you feel that much better that you didn't, you're like, I don't even need pre-workout?
Yeah, thinking back on it now, I had some hard-coded beliefs that just were not good fundamental truths that I should have followed. And one of them was, even to you, I was kind of just, oh, it's not even about the caffeine. It's more about the ritual of me having it before the gym, was one thing I said to you. Another thing was when we first started, one of my biggest concerns that I've voiced, I don't know if you remember, was no, no, no. I actually like lifting every day. I want to lift every day. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And looking back now, you probably were laughing at me. Now, knowing what I know now about everything, it's just kind of funny. So I think I had some beliefs that weren't serving me around fitness and around how to keep my energy levels that I'm glad that I was able to shake and not go back to.
Dude, yeah, I mean, that's kind of ultimately what the whole point of the program is to help change the identity that you hold for yourself and the beliefs around that identity. And you brought up some perfect examples right there. And it's you can tell someone something as many times as you want, but until they actually experience it and live it, it's a whole different story. Because, like, I don't know. I mean, you've been lifting 3 days a week now for probably almost we're coming up close to a year. Like, do you think you'll
Hmm.
ever go back to getting in the gym 5, 6 days a week?
I don't think so. I mean, unless I'm trying to go do some transformation within my body, but I love where I'm at now. And I actually don't think you need the additional days lifting weights to get to your goals. So probably not.
I guess, and what do you like? What's the biggest difference that you notice only lifting 3 days a week versus six? Obviously, your transformation's insane, but like in terms of the way that you feel, you can even comment on the way that you look too. But yeah, why do you like the 3 day split so much more?
Yeah, and it's not even that I'm only lifting 3 days a week now. It's I'm actually doing less exercises than I was prior to. So that's another thing to take into consideration. I'm just all around
Yeah,
lifting less, um, and just being more intentional about what I'm doing in the gym and keeping it that I'm typically in the gym 35 to 55 minutes depending on how much I'm dragging ass or how many work calls I'm taking throughout, which is extremely shorter than I used to be. So just being able to get in the gym and just be intentional and understanding that, or really just recognizing that I'm only doing this type of exercise once a week, it just brings that much more um, effectiveness and like intentionality behind it, especially because I'm keeping track of all my reps I'm doing, all of my weight increases I'm doing. Like I'm keeping track of those things. And when you see progress, you see fulfillment. And that's like where I've kind of raised the standard there for myself in the gym versus
dude,
just, aimlessly lifting weights in the gym. That never goes anywhere. No matter how hard you do one day or the next, it's just, you got to have the time for your body to recover and reflection and like understanding where you're at. And that's one thing I never did.
yeah, man, it's addicting. Like the whole point of it is to try and gamify it. That's why I have it set up the way that I do within the program. Even with all of the habits, which like you were super consistent at crushing the habits. I think you literally had like, a 300 day or however many days it was streak. I literally don't think you ever missed one. And that's intentional, right? Like you see the empty checkbox, you want to check it off, keep the gamification going. When you're doing your lifts, you see what you did the previous week. You want to do one more rep or, add 5 pounds. So on top of that too, like again, the lifting 3 days a week, for me, it's just like you come in and I feel so fresh that I'm like excited to hit the gym and I can hit it with 100% intensity rather than like a 80% half-assed workout 6 days a week. So um prior to hopping in the program, what do you think was the biggest thing that was holding you back from like actually looking the way that you look now? And more importantly, like feeling the way that you feel now?
I to be honest, I think it was more just like lack of education for me. I think a lot of people
Lack of
and
education around what though?
just like what's actually moving the needle in my fitness and my energy levels and like understanding what to eat, like creating frameworks around things. Like one thing I do want to know, you talk about the gamification and how we had all these check boxes. It's not that they were hard things to do, right? It was just they were easy to do and they were just as easy not to do those things. And that goes around and to take away the easy to not do part, you have to have a framework and like a plan to go follow. And once you have the script, it's already written, just go follow the script. Um, so that's where I think understanding overall what was important, not getting lost in the details. Like I went to Georgia last weekend on a golf trip, and my friends wanted to go get some food that wasn't very healthy, and I was like, well, let's just go do it because I know I can still live my life how I want to. If I'm doing things correctly 90% of the time, it's okay to not necessarily have a hiccup, but just live life. You know what I mean? If you're doing things right most of the time, the second time is fine. You know?
Yeah, it's literally built in to allow for that, to allow you to actually live and enjoy your life. And I think you brought up a good point too, where it's like like I always wanted to focus on the things that actually move the needle because I came from the same background as you. I was in the sales industry and I was tight on time. And so the last thing you want to be doing is spending a ton of time in the gym doing all these things without actually getting a result. And then on top of that, the stuff that you're doing outside of the gym with your diet, with your movement, all these other things, like you don't want to be doing anything that's not actually getting a return on your time. Otherwise, it's just a complete waste. And if you look back when you were lifting 6 days a week, you were putting in a ton of effort. You just weren't fully getting rewarded for it. And so it's just interesting hearing you say like you're lifting fewer amount of days, you're doing fewer amount of sets at the gym, but you're getting better results. That's just like the ultimate goal there. Um, I'm curious, did you have any hesitations about working with an online coach before? Because like before you signed up? Because, again, we knew each other a little bit before, but we had never hung out in person. We'd actually never met in person. And typically most trainers are online. So were there any hesitations or concerns that you had before joining?
Yeah, of course. I think there were a ton of hesitations. We went back and forth quite a few times, and I've actually gotten on the phone with a few trainers over the years. I just never actually pulled the trigger because every time I talk to these guys, it just if people can't explain things simply enough to be understood in a 10-minute conversation, I think it's just too complex. And they don't understand it appropriately. So when we first spoke on the phone, I was obviously grilling you the question just from the nature of who I am and wanting to understand a little bit more about it before I got into it because dude, I mean, it's not a cheap thing to go invest into. But I finally just got to this point where me not taking the initial investment to create a better version of myself was just hurting me in every other aspect of my life. Um, and it's interesting that people will go spend money on the dumbest shit, but when it comes to like spending money on something that's actually important, like the Whole Foods meal versus going to the Dollar General or whatever it may be, like it's just once you step back and actually realize that, you kind of get pissed off, and that's kind of where I got to that point where what am I doing weighing 210? You know what I mean? I just was like, this isn't this isn't me. You know what I mean? And it wasn't that I wasn't athletic or I wasn't playing sports or I was still very active, but I just got to the place of I was tired of having the ignorance and I wanted to pay the ignorance debt down. So I literally just did that. I just paid for it. Sure, could I have gone and like watched a million YouTube videos and sorted through and tried everything? You go back to like return your time. My return on my time by just going directly to the source and skipping all the bullshit was way higher. So just kind of after I ran that thought through my head a few times and I just got straight with myself. I was like, if if I looked 10% better, would this be worth X amount of dollars for me? And the answer was like, when I put it that way in the most simple term, it's obvious. If I can have better energy levels and give even just 10% effort in my industry more than what I was giving prior and having better results in just 10%, it paid for the investment on tenfold. Um, so that was kind of like my thought process and philosophy around, okay, I need to just do this. And if it doesn't work, at least I tried.
100%, man. And my whole like belief around coaching as well is every day you wait to get coaching you're missing out. There's so much opportunity cost. Like the best time to get coaching was a year ago because then you take that knowledge and you're able to apply it with you the rest of your life. And so anytime I'm considering getting coaching, like I always like to hop on it ASAP because I want to have that to my advantage moving forward. And so you have this skill set. I always tell clients, I'm like, I'm not trying to work with you forever. I don't want you to be a client forever. I want to be able to teach you the skills so that you can go off on your own and do everything by yourself. Because to your point earlier, like what I'm teaching is not rocket science. There's no like proprietary information I have. It's just a very particular set of systems that you follow that get you the results that you want. And you have to be consistent with it, which obviously you were super consistent. But yeah, I mean, again, like it's one of those things where there's the cost of inaction versus actually doing taking the action to get to your dreams. And yeah, man, like seeing your physique, seeing where you're at, I'm sure it feels awesome to get out of the shower, go to the beach, go to the pool, and feel excited to like take off your shirt. You have fucking washboard abs. You have some of the most insane arms I've ever seen. When you take pictures of your back, your triceps would just be straight popping, dude. It was insane. Um, and I don't know for you, like what that feeling was like. Um, but was there a difference in your confidence when you had the chance to take off your shirt in public, or even if it was just at home, like I said, getting out of the shower or like changing, and you like see yourself and you're like, damn, okay, like I'm looking fucking nice.
I mean, yeah, what sells, bro, isn't overly confident in themselves. You know what I mean? I will say though, going back to your point about how simple it is and how it's not rocket science on your end, to give you some credit on that, like without the accountability of having working with you, I wouldn't have actually instilled those habits into myself and I wouldn't continue doing them. Because I would actually argue now that we're not working together and we've had our time, we did 9 months together. I think I'm still progressing and I look better now than when since that last photo when we stopped working together after my 9 month mark. So, Stephen props there. Yeah, it's like it took time to get those habits instilled.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
as it should, right? Like I don't expect anybody to be perfect after 30 days. It does take some time to really build those habits into part of your lifestyle, but you've probably experienced it to the point now where like you don't even really have to think about it. Like you just wake up and do
yeah.
these things and it's second nature and you're not tempted by certain things when you go out and you're just used to living this type of way. And I call it like your autopilot, where everybody has this autopilot that they resort back to. And my whole job as a coach is to basically upgrade your autopilot software as if you were like a Tesla that's getting an update over the cloud, which is kind of crazy that those cars can do that. They literally get an update and they just drive better. Like
Oh,
so,
I love my Tesla. I'll have a Tesla forever. I love it, regardless of my
yes.
Elon haters.
But yeah, I mean that's what I think about with the lifestyle where it's like, hey, we just want to make it so that when you're super tired, when you're hungry, when you've had a bad day, you're still able to resort back to that autopilot program and make the right decisions. Um, I'm curious for you, like moving forward, obviously, we've worked together, you've had incredible results, but this is a lifelong game. And I'm curious what your kind of goals are moving forward with your physique, with your lifestyle, if there's anything that you're looking to continue to improve when it comes to those aspects.
Yeah, so right now, I'm sitting around like on average around 191. Like obviously some days I'll wake up and I'll be 189 and 190, whatever. One of my goals right now is I'm trying to get down to like to 188 consistently. Um, and to do that, and I haven't run this by you yet, so maybe you can give me some feedback on the call. But to do that right now, I'm just instead of eating anything before the gym, I'm just doing a 20 grams of protein, whey protein, and then I'm going to the gym without eating, and I'm doing more cardio at the end of the workouts to kind of get some more steps in, and obviously keeping my step count up. So that's one of my major goals right now, at least in my fitness side. I'm trying to just lose a few more pounds to get down a little bit.
Do you have any like competition goals you're looking to do? Like any of those Spartans or like high rocks or half marathons or anything? I feel like for
Dude,
you,
no.
your biggest thing is like the game of business, and you were really wanting to optimize your energy levels and just feel like you're not that you're not a confident guy already, but like, and continuing to increase your confidence through your physique, the way that you look, the way that you feel. Because you have big plans when it comes to business. And again, like it came back to a time constraint as well. We're like, I don't want to be spending a bunch of time in here. So I guess with that, like, how do you feel like you're spending a ton of time doing what you're doing to continue to maintain your physique versus what you were doing prior to the program?
I would argue that I'm spending less time and I feel much better. Yeah. Going back to your question of, any competitive goals I'm going towards, not really. Um, I might be weird in the fact that I get my 12,000 steps a day and I do these other things that I won't disclose because to hear it, you got to sign up with Luke or Bennett Luke. But outside of that, yeah, I don't have any competitive goals I'm looking to do. It's honestly simple enough. I don't need a carrot to chase to just do what I'm supposed to.
Yeah, like I said, man, you're like one of the most disciplined guys that I've worked with. So there's no need for like something else holding you accountable in as far as a future date. Um, I'm curious too, is was there anything that like really surprised you about the program in terms of the way it was set up, the that you weren't expecting, right? Because you probably have these preconceived notions of what you're going to get when you sign up for online coaching. Like you'll probably get a workout program, but then you don't know about the video modules or the school community or the group calls or the one-on-one calls or the texting. Like, what was the biggest surprise for you that you weren't expecting? And then also maybe the thing that helped you the most throughout the program.
Yeah, I think what the biggest surprise was probably how practical it all was. Um, I don't think there was any piece of it that it really took a massive amount of effort to go do. It was just consistently doing what I was supposed to over and over. Um, so I don't think to that point it was anything that hard, to be honest.
I love it.
Um,
It's,
what was the other question? Sorry.
the thing that made the biggest difference for you.
I actually think getting my step counts would be like probably the biggest thing. And this is when people ask me, like I always say that I'm like I'm telling you, you're not getting enough steps throughout the day. Because today's a great example for me. I went to the gym super early, right? And I got home and I've been right here since 9 a.m. Like in this chair on the phone, right? And you don't realize that there will be some days when I go out naturally and I'll get 10,000 steps, but there will be days like today, or if I look and I check this all day, like it's like kind of funny how religious I am about getting my step count at this point. But if I look right now, like I'll tell you in real time, today at 4:30, I'm only at 1,300 steps. And to be clear, that's like 15 minutes of walking if you wanted to go, walk on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Like that shows you how unactive I've been all day today. But we get this false perception of success when you go to the gym and I get my workout in. But then when you go home and sit here, whether you work from remote or just don't stay active, it's not enough. And that was like the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around. Um, so I may be way off, but I really do think the step count was the most important piece. Like I'll show you how consistent I've been.
No, I
And again,
mean, you're on the money,
I've been
man. And that,
off the program for how long at this point?
I think like
It's
five
been what,
months,
5
4 or 5
months?
months.
So just this week, I'm averaging. Yesterday, I got. Let me just go to year. Like this is my year to date number.
12,300. That's awesome.
Yeah, every day. It's like today, yesterday. Let's see where we're at. Yesterday got 12,293. The day before was 18,000, 12,600, 13,500. Like it's just a consistent thing, and I really believe that was the biggest difference in just burning some calories.
Dude, yeah, it's massive. And again, I don't have anything in the program that's not intentional. Like if it's in there, it's there for a reason. And to your point, most people have no idea how inactive they are. Like I think the average person probably gets around 4,000 steps a day. And that's just from, walking around, walking to the office, walking to the fucking, refrigerator 5 times, walking to the bathroom. And so I always tell clients from the start, I'm like, the thing that's going to take you the most amount of time is increasing your step count. You're never accidentally going to hit 10 or 12K steps a day, but if you're just a little intentional about it, it's super fucking easy. And I'm in the same boat as you, man. I've been like sitting all day. I knew that was going to happen. So this morning, I went out on a walk and did a 10K step walk. So But same thing, like my average is up there as well, and it's one of those things that if you don't, at least for me, if I don't go out on a walk or don't get outside, I feel weird. I feel off. Um, and it's not just about the steps; it's also about getting out and getting some fresh air and whatnot. So, um, it's it's a good habit to have. But you're on the money. It definitely is one of the biggest difference makers because people just simply aren't moving enough. Um, and so kind of wrapping this all up, I'm curious, like, what would be the piece of advice that you would tell yourself, a year ago, knowing everything that you know now, right? Besides, hey, sign up for coaching. Forget about all that. Everything that you've learned, what's the biggest piece of advice that you would tell Joey a year ago?
Um, probably at this point, honestly, to like not really worry about the bad days as much as I do and used to, more so than now. I would have, one bad meal, and when I say bad, not even nothing crazy, but or miss my step count one day, and I would just get so like upset with myself. Um, but now I'm to the point where I've realized that it's what you do most of the time that is going to dictate where you go. Obviously, when I say most of the time, I'm talking 90% of the time. I'm doing what I feel is necessary for me to get to where I want to go, and the 10% is just like you need flexibility in your life to go have a fun life. Like I don't want to be the guy that doesn't eat pizza with my homies after a night out because I'm trying to be like this fit dude. That's like way too overboard for me. So just kind of like having it in moderation and understanding that it is a long haul. Like I want to continue these habits I've learned with you for the rest of my life, not just a short term. And one of the biggest concerns I had when I first started was this is going to be like a dramatic change in my life, and then I'm just going to go back to what I was doing prior, and that's just not the case. So just allowing that to happen and understanding it is a long game and don't be so hard on yourself. And you talk a lot about the confidence side of it. um I'm already a pretty confident person, to be honest, but continually doing what I'm supposed to do, that we talk about and you're coaching me on, like really did help my confidence by just doing what you say you're going to do itself builds the confidence. And then the results come naturally. So just understanding that and like being more aware of it prior would probably be a little more helpful.
Dude, yeah, I always say like the key to confidence is just doing the things that you said you were going to do. And especially the small things, it's really, really easy to skip over the small things, but that's typically what ends up making the biggest difference over the long haul is the consistency of just doing all those small habits. And again, you were exceptional at that. So that's why you've had such a great transformation. That's why you'll continue to have an even better transformation moving forward. I know that you're going to continue to look better, feel better, and perform better in business as well. But before we wrap it up, anything else that you want to tell people or share um, before we wrap it up?
If you've made it this far in the video, then you need to just sign up. Like, stop the battling, just do it. It's worth it. And if it's not, at least you tried. Just sign up with Boy Bennett. Let's make it happen.
Dude, well, I appreciate it. It's been awesome working with you. You're an absolute stud, man. And like I said, man, cheering for you and looking forward to continuing to see your continued transformation and just you crushing life, man. So thanks for you guys for sticking around, checking it out, and we'll see you guys in the next one.